clear that they have been fully devolved?
It's mostly in the big ministries that are dealing with devolved functions. We're talking of agriculture. There's still a lot of money relating to crop production, animal husbandry, and the whole area of agriculture and livestock. We're talking of water. We're talking of health, right? So resources that ought to have been put in that shareable pot, and we flag this out even in the process of negotiating every single year at the Division of Revenue discussions with the Senate. Actually, itemized budget items in the national government that relate directly to matters that have been devolved. So we feel that it skews the allocations, it skews the distribution of resources, because those resources ought to be part of what is put in the pot, which is then shared equitably through a constitutional formula among the 47 counties.
Talk about resources, and there's been this push and pull about how much counties should be getting, and now that the more devolved services have been broken down and taken to the counties, the resources should follow. But we're still at a point where the allocation from the national budget is about a paltry 10 or 12% of the total budget that goes to the counties. Are you confident that that can sustain devolution, and how far do you think that will be?
Now, I think this debate of the resources will need a discussion wider than the one we're having here, because that's the main contention usually between the subnationals, in this case the counties, and the national government. The whole issue of division of revenue, it's not a simple matter as it's been put, because there are many factors that come into play. We feel that since the inception of devolved governments, the national government, and I've said this in many fora, has front-loaded its share through public debt.
Okay.
Right? And this is not something that happened in the last 2 or 3 years under President Ruto. It happened mostly in the last 10 years under President Uhuru, where our debt moved from some 1.6 trillion left by Kibaki to the figures we're talking of 10, 11 trillion shillings. And national debt then is will be told is first charge on the consolidated funds. It's a national interest matter. And whatever is collected first has to serve service debt before it can even be shared out. What then that does is it reduces the pot of what is shareable. Then there are also certain legal practical issues that we have to deal with. The floor or the minimum that counties ought to get is 15% of the last audited and approved accounts. The auditing is done by the Auditor General, but the approval is done by the House of Parliament, and in particular for national rationable revenues by the National Assembly. And it's always, the approval is always 3 or 4 years in arrears. So when you look at how much counties are getting vis-a-vis the constitutional formula, it may look a lot,
but it's not.
But on the basis of what is current budget figures, then it's not that much.
Hold that thought.
And the question then is, yes, they may meet the basics of running the county, but the counties are also not just about meeting the basics. They're about development. They're about opening up this country. They're about integrating everyone. They're about servicing and serving all corners of this country. Whether that is sufficient resources, then the question is out there.
Chairman, allow us to take a short break, and we'll be back to continue talking about that, because there's also the whole issue of own source revenue collection for counties. Well, I'm here with His Excellency Ahmed Abdullahi, the Chairman, Council of Governors, at the venue where the Devolution Conference 2025 will be held. Let's take a short break. We'll be back to discuss a lot more around the discussions that will be live here in Homa Bay.